Welcome back to SaharaTV. My name is Toyin Okunlawon. On Monday, students of Nassarawa State University went on a protest against the lack of amenities on campus in an encounter with soldiers along the Akwanga-Kefi Road. 4 students, or some say 3, were killed by soldiers. Today on our highlight segment, I have 2 special guests. I have Abdul Mahmud, who is the president of the Public Interest Lawyers League, and Toyin Okunlawon, who was a student in 1998, who participated in a protest and was shot by the police. That was during MKO Abiola's death. Abdul Mahmud, welcome to SaharaTV.
It's my pleasure being on your TV, Rudolph Okonkwo. Good evening to all Nigerians, to viewers of television around the world.
Toyin, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and I greet you all.
Now, let me start with you, Abdul.
Right.
What is being reported? I mean, what we have in the story now in the media is that 3, some say 3, some say 4 students were killed. I want to know if there is any new information in the last few hours that you have about the incident.
Well, there's no new information in respect of the killings of students of Nassarawa State University in Kefi, the killings that took place on Monday, on Monday this week. What today is in the public space are 1, 3 students who were mercilessly killed. 2, the Nigerian Army High Command has come out to deny the fact that its officers were not involved and could not have been held responsible by most of us have been argued since Monday that these young men were killed by officers of the Nigerian Army. These are the 2 facts that are today in the public, in the public place. 1, 3 students were killed by armed soldiers. 2, the military high command have come out to deny that its officers were not responsible for the killings of the students.
So who is responsible? Do we know?
That is the $1 million question. Who is responsible? I think history should provide us aid here. Sometimes last year, I think late last year, when students of University of Abuja went on protest against the poor, deplorable conditions on their campuses, soldiers were sent into that university to disperse students. Fortunately for us, no single life was lost. Just on Monday here, a report has it that soldiers engaged students in an open battle for 8 hours in Kefi, lasting into the dead of the night or the early hours of Tuesday, physically fishing students out of their abode and residences in Kefi. These are facts that we know, that we are aware of. Now, we are surprised that the Nigerian Army is denying this fact. Just on Thursday here, I ran into a student of Nassarawa State University who affirms to me that there are video images, of armed soldiers in combat with defenseless Nigerian students. I have not seen these images all through Friday. I sought having the images, but I couldn't find a single one. I put a message across to the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Mr. Yinka Badebo, asking that he provides us some of these images. If NANS, that's an organization, ask them.
All right, Abdul, hold on. Let me go to Toyin. Toyin, you were a student in 1998, and you went out on a protest. Can you, when you hear this story, what do you think about? How do you feel about this incident happening 15 years after? What happened to you?
Yes, the brutality of Nigeria security agents is still at its high rate. And I happen to be a victim of a peaceful rally not just a protest, it was a peaceful rally after the gruesome murder of Chief MK Abiola, and we went to the gate with banner printed, and we went on street. And when the police came, they said they were part of the rally. After moving meters away from the school gate, they turned back at us, sporadically shooting. They shot at 5 of us, though some were pierced with bullets. 2 died, 1 was amputated, and I spent the whole 12 months on hospital bed, for which year after year I continue having medical surgeries. Till date, I've had 11 surgeries. My sciatic nerve is seriously damaged. I've got a foot drop. I'm still carrying fragments of multiple pellets in my legs. There is lots of bone because I was shot at the femur, lots of fragments of bone. And still limping, and till date I've tried all efforts to make sure I come back fully on feet, but all to no avail. Even when I wrote to the Inspector General of Police and the DIGs in Abuja, I met them one-on-one, collected my letters, and they said they will work on it. Even when Indira was the DIG, then when Tafa was there, when Okiro was there, his doctor wrote me, but all fruitless, not helping the situation. The guy that was amputated to is still, using one artificial prosthesis that is just like very heavy for him. We are just in a limbo. And with the Nassarawa incident, the police claim not to be the one responsible. So who shot? And they said in their press release that they dispersed the students. How did they disperse students? It's just their traditional way of shooting at students. Students that are not harmed, for God's sake. This is very barbaric. They keep killing students.
Now, Toyin, hold on.
Let me respect the military, but they turn out to be our enemy. They are supposed to protect lives and property and the territorial region of the country. The reverse is the case.
Yeah, Toyin, hold on. Okay, let me go to you, Abdul. Abdul, when did we? I know during the military era, I was a student. I was in Nigeria. I never heard about the military coming in on campus to stop students' protest. When did we degenerate into this point where we now bring in the military to come and deal with students and students' peaceful protest?
Unfortunately, the history of the Nigerian student movement is replete with brutal killings of this nature. Recall that in 1971, we lost, the Nigerian student movement had its first student casualty, and successively, through the years, the Nigerian student movement have lost students during protests, some after protest. Recall in 1978, I should think, 13 Nigerian students lost their lives in the now famous Ali Must Go protest. And also in 1991, when I was president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, we lost 2 students at Yaba College of Technology following the national protest I led against Babangida administration that year. But in all of these killings, the culprits have always been armed men of the Nigerian police force. But increasingly, since the return of civilians in 1999, we have had reports of soldiers entering our campuses, shooting at students. And sadly as well, the student movement losing the rest of some of their members, like what happened some 4 or 5 days ago at Nassarawa State University. But I think consistently, there is a refusal of the Nigerian state to accept that international best practices no longer recognize the opening of knife rounds, on protesters. If we have a state that recognizes this best practice, one, it will not send a very violent institution as the military to quell a civil protest. And that is where we have a problem with Nigerian state. But don't forget, too, we are dealing with a state that is not sane. We are dealing with a state that is extremely violent. Just last month ago, 33 bodies of Nigerians were recovered from a river in Anambra State. Today, we don't even know the identities of the deceased, but they are Nigerians. A report that we know that is in the public place, if we believe the position of MASOB, is that these deceased Nigerians were their members that were killed and their bodies dumped in open rivers by the Nigerian police, by officers of the Nigerian police force. So increasingly, our state has become extremely violent. Where this will take the state, I do not know. But there's a simple argument here. When a state chooses to deploy violence, the tendency exists that groups will resist and react to that state using violence as a tool or weapon. That is the specter dangerously that the Nigerian state is creating today. But I'm saddened by the sudden event that took place in Kefi 4 or 5 days ago. And I'm more worried that no principal officer of the present government has come out to tell Nigerians that, look, we accept that killings are taking place at that university. It is the desire of this government to set up a panel of inquiry to look into the circumstances that led into the killings of those students and to uncover or unravel, the individuals responsible for the killings of those students. But one point I must stress: in 1986, following the Ahmadu Bello University crisis in which a student died, the Abusoye panel that was set up by the Bangladesh administration came out with a recommendation. And it's very clear in its report that violent institutions like the military or the armed mobile police force should not be sent into our campuses to quell peaceful protests. And fundamentally, too, the panel recommended that live rounds should not be used on Nigerian students. But why officers of Nigerian Army were sent into Kefi, to quell a peaceful protest led by the student union government of that university, remains extremely shocking to us.
Now, Abdul, I'm really frustrated, just like you and most Nigerians. I was a student and I faced the police just like the kids who are facing them today in protest. Yeah. I understand this. Now, my biggest frustration now is really like you are talking about in your press release that there should be an inquiry. And you just told me what a report of an inquiry that was conducted in the 80s said. Why do we need another inquiry? Why, you said in the press release that the Vice Chancellor should be suspended and should be prosecuted. I'm saying, what I'm asking myself here is, when are we going to go to the next stage? By that I mean, you know that these things are not going to happen. If they set up a panel, they're not going to follow the recommendations of the panel. And if you just issue out a press release saying they should suspend the Vice Chancellor to investigate, it's not happening. It didn't happen. Are you going to do something? Are you going to take it to the next level? Do something to insist that there should be somebody held accountable for this incident? Because what has been happening from 1960s, 70s is simply that these things happen, nobody's held accountable, it continues to happen. My question is, as an activist, people who are pushing for change, are we going to go beyond issuing a press release and taking action to insist that somebody should be held accountable?
Yes, it's our responsibility to insist that those who are responsible for the killings of these students be brought to justice. But do not forget that there are two versions to a solid event here. Whilst the student union government, through the National Association of Nigerian Students, is insisting that armed men of the Nigerian Army fell through students of that university. The Army High Command is saying that none of their officers were responsible for the killings of those students. The High Command even went ahead to claim that there were no military men in the vicinity of Kefi when that protest was ongoing. There are two versions of events here. One stating the fact, another one in denial. So the proper thing that we think that we can do in the circumstance is for the government to come out with, set up a panel of some sort to unravel the truth. On the basis of the report that I think such panel, will submit. If the panel finds and unravels, the individuals responsible for the killings of these students, it becomes easy for us, public interest lawyers, to take the report to the Attorney General and say, look, on the basis of this report, can you prosecute these individuals for the heinous crimes they've committed against Nigerian students? And where the Attorney General refuses, to discharge its constitutional function, some of us as public interest lawyers cannot proceed to court, as private prosecutors of these individuals. If a panel of inquiry is not set up, we cannot come to the roots of the truth. That is the honest truth about it.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, Abdul. I'll come back to you because I'm interested in what could be done. Because we could end up saying, this, and it will end here, just like the ones in the past. If the government is not ready to set up an inquiry, and nothing will happen. Let me go to you, Toyin. I want to ask you a question. You've said you went to hospitals and you've done surgeries. I wanted to ask you, did you consider, and you met some of these police inspector generals and nobody's doing anything. Did you consider taking anybody to court, like the police to court?
Then when it happened?
Yeah, when it happened, or even now, it's not late. I mean, I don't think there is, it's late.
It's late, yes.
Oh, it's late now?
Why I had to get in touch with the IGs was that when I was a member of the Student Union Executive, so I had the opportunity of attending the Inspector General Student Summit organized by the then IG, M.A.K. Smith. So I tabled my matter, and it was like a sue up to court, this and that. And I know how they network with the court. If the police orderly is withdrawn, the judge or the court will not sit. They know how to play their politics. So I had to put everything in writing, submitted. When Smith left, Balogun came, and I also submitted another letter and met a Indian. He collected the letters. He said he will work on it. I went to the BIG welfare, Dambok then. So the doctor reviewed me and also sent my report from the Falamo Hospital to the IG's office. They said they will work on it. Since then, I've been trying, even Okiro's doctor, personal doctor, and then was DSP Dayo, Adeleke or something like that, or Adeleke, wrote me. I got the letter, yet nothing has been done. The fact is that if not for I was able to get little resources and family support, social support, it will have really run me down the drain. And till date, I'm still battling with it because I'm carrying fragments of multiple pellets. And when I was being picked by these so-called Nigerian police, I was driven to More Police Station, the first headquarters in Nife, and I was behind the counter for good 6 hours where I was being hit by these policemen with multiple compound fracture on my leg, bleeding, my pool of blood, before I was now taken to the hospital. The day I clocked a year, that was the day I got discharged from the hospital and went back on campus. So it's really been bad. They kill people anyhow. They shoot students anyhow. They believe once they are in uniform, they can do an undo. Even in my area here, the way they arrest Okada people and all that, and if they arrest Okada people because of helmets or anything, they will ride on that bike and go without helmet. It's impunity. That is very bad. Killing Nigerian people.
Now, thank you, Toyin. Let me come back to you, Abdul. Okay, so who should set up this panel? Now, let me agree with you that this is the first thing that should be done to find out who is responsible. Who should set up this panel? And if they don't do that, is there anything you can do to force maybe if it's the Department of Justice, I mean, if it's the Attorney General, I don't know who is responsible for that. Is there anything that could be done to force them first to set up this panel to look into this? Is there anything within your power or within the activist community that should be done to begin the process of demanding accountability, other than issuing press release?
Yes. My specific answer to your question is this. One, the fact in the public place is this. Officers of the Nigerian Army were alleged to have shot to death 3 students of Nassarawa State University. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Toyin Okunlawon, he doubles as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. And we know at the operational command level, is only the Chief of Army Staff that can give operational command, of that nature. So the question invariably would be, is who authorized the mobilization of men of the Nigerian Army? Who asked them to go into Kefi to quell the students' peaceful protest? But because the President is Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and we're talking of the Nigerian Army here, the governor of Nassarawa State has no operational control, though he is the security officer of the state over the Nigerian Army. So it revolves around the powers of the President to commission the public inquiry, possibly perhaps through the Minister of Education. That is at that level. And 2, if the Minister of Education or the President here, refuses to commission a panel of public inquiry, we have powers under our laws. We can proceed to a federal high court to ask, the federal high court, to grant us an order of mandamus or a mandatory order, compelling the President to set up a panel of inquiry. As it is now, it is our whole belief that the only way we can unravel the truth is for us to have an unblemished, unimpeachable, panel of some sort that can look at the circumstances leading to the killings of those students. What happened? And more importantly, I want to stress this point. Increasingly, if you look around our universities, you discover most of the vice chancellors we have, I think 40 to 45% of our vice chancellors, are products of, the administration of universities during our military era. A lot of them are not winning themselves off the autocratic tendencies we find among our vice chancellors. Professor Amadi, who is the vice chancellor of Nassarawa State University, when I was a student and president of National Association of Nigerian Students, was the vice chancellor academic of the University of Jos. I know, as a matter of fact, that Professor Amadi never showed any love for academic freedom, for autonomy of the students, of the student union. But today, 23, 24 years after I graduated from University of Jos, Professor Amani still remains a vice chancellor of a Nigerian university, and I hear this is the 3rd university in Nigeria that he has become a vice chancellor. It's against this backdrop that we call for a suspension. There's no way we'll come to the truth of what happened at that university with the vice chancellor remaining in office.
Now, Abdul, let me ask you. Yeah, let me stop you there. Let me ask you. So, is it wrong? Is it wrong, or is it not proper? For instance, say you have the resources and you mobilize people and say we are going to protest at the campus of this university until the vice chancellor is suspended, or until an inquiry is set up. Is that not possible?
Yes, it is possible, but it is not for us, public interest lawyers, to call for that. What we're interested in is the protection of the sanctity of our laws. We follow the law in its letter and its spirit. It is for the National Association of Nigerian Students. When I had exchanges with NANS leaders 3 or 4 days ago, I did tell them that, look, In the history of Nigerians, movement, the killings of students in Nassarawa is not novel. But what will be novel is the reaction of the present leadership of NANS to those killings. Some individuals have argued that a NANS, that is tied to the apron strings of this government, cannot show any sense of leadership. Since Monday, what NANS has done is to support our call for public inquiry. But I think as a responsible student organization, it should be able to take huge political steps, to show the government that, look, consistent with his own clarion call, an injury to one student is an injury to all. And the only way you can show that resentment, to that injury is by NANS to hold this government responsible. And the only way you can hold the government responsible is to occupy our campuses.
Now, Abdul, hold on there, okay? We have our viewers. Many of them are trying to talk to you and talk to Toyin and join our conversation. So let me bring them in, and they can join the conversation, and maybe they will have questions for you. Welcome to SaharaTV. I don't have your name, so please, if you speak, tell me your name. Yeah, what's your name and what do you want to comment?
Okay, my name is Mohammed.
Okay, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yes, I want to comment. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to speak on I think you have two topics.
Okay. I want us, for this segment, I want us to talk about the students, okay? When we finish this segment, then we can talk about the rest of the topics so that we can let our guests go after this.
Okay, now for the students, to be honest with you, what the military did was extremely bad.
Okay.
I think it's high time some people start paying or some people start answering questions to most killings in Nigeria. Now, I wonder who gave a military officer authority to shoot at the students. The students were only causing riot about. They were not violent. They never had arms. They never had guns. So I didn't see any reason why the military had to shoot them.
Okay.
And from the commanding officer, from the man who is the commanding officer in Nassarawa State, he should be court-martialed because without giving his boys, the others, no, they won't kill anybody. And if you look at it, I think it's because, you see, if you look at what happened last year on this fuel subsidy matter then, if you notice, the police killed someone. Now, if I tell you that case, nobody has said anything about it.
All right, so, Mohammed, hold on, okay? Stay there. Let me get other people to get involved in this. Who else is on the line? Please say your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Abdullah, calling from Moscow, the Russian capital.
Okay, Abdul. Okay, welcome to SaharaTV.
Yeah, welcome. My pleasure.
Okay.
I think the discussion goes as regards to the students. You see, actually, what happens, I think this is not, even in the military regime, I think this is not going to happen because the students were trying to protest, against what's going on in the school. But I don't know why the military just went off and started shooting them because they were armless, they have nothing. And if in a democracy there's a freedom of speech and everything, they are trying to express themselves, but I don't know why things are going on like that in Nigeria.
All right, hold on, Abdullahi. Abdul.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Okay, Abdul, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. It appears sometimes, I don't know how people on the ground get to feel these things. It appears to me that there are what they call the silent majority of people in Nigeria against things like this. I think there is a sense that they're looking for leadership. I want to ask you, why is it that there is nobody, it appears, willing to come out and build on this silent protest or willingness to say that things have to change? Why is it that way?
Yes, I think what's going on in Nigeria seriously
I have no
is
single answer to
pathetic,
it. But
because
my sense
in
is this.
Nigeria today there is no
And
opposition.
consistently I've made this point.
You know,
I think
whenever you come
at
out
the
with a
last
voice
time
that
of
you are trying to
at the last outing with.
Hold on, Abdul.
Sorry?
I think we have. I want Abdul to answer this question. If you're on Skype, please hold on. I will get back to you. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Abdul, go ahead.
Yeah, at the last outing at your platform,
Hello?
I did express my
Yeah, I'm
dismay
talking.
at Nigerians
Hello?
who are not shocked,
Hello?
for any stretch of reason
Hello?
over the killings that have consistently taken place, in their country. I'm more dismayed by the killings of students this week, in Kefi, and the reactions of Nigerians. It's as if nothing happened. It's as if individuals from the lower classes of animals, were just slaughtered in an orgy, of bloodlet
Sahara
that has become
reporters,
part
what's
and
wrong?
parcel of our national lives.
Yeah, but Abdul, when we have this interaction with our viewers, we tend to get a different kind of feeling. And I want to know if is it that people who are in a position to lead do not get this kind of reaction or feedback from Nigerians, or do they feel that Nigerians? I don't think I don't get this sense that Nigerians do not care. I think they are basically looking for who will come out to say, okay, let me lead, let me do something. Let's do something about the situation.
I think
Yeah.
we've gone past that stage of people becoming couch potatoes in their homes, sitting in front of televisions, speaking venom, screaming at images on TV, cursing and abusing the leaders of the day, and expecting a certain Gani Fawemi or a Femi Falana of this world to emerge to lead the people in a protest. We are all suffering from the shenanigans of our government. And I've always argued that it is for Nigerians themselves to take this leadership. And in particular, as we talk in respect of this case, it is for the National Association of Nigerian Students to show leadership here. If the National Association of Nigerian Students can mobilize its 30 million Nigerian student members that it claims and hold this government responsible for the killings of these students, I think it will engender a process like we saw in January of 2012. But for some of us in the civil society, for me in particular as a lawyer, I can't take my wig and gown and go and stand in front of the gates of a campus, to protest against the rot going on in the university. I have no locus. I have no special interest. My special interest will be one, when the fundamental rights of these students are infringed upon, and we'll proceed to the court to do just that. But there are other interest groups that can lead Nigerians along, the lines of their own interests. But while they are not doing it, I think Nigerians are very comfortable screaming in the pages of papers, screaming on the bandwidth of Twitter or Facebook. Look, our problem has gone beyond our problems have gone beyond the viral. We should be in the street. And it is the responsibility of the National Association of Nigerians, or youth organizations for that matter, to organize protests, show that they object to the nonsense going on. We're talking of 3 lives here. I'm more particularly worried about how the parents of the disease will be feeling just now, this moment, as I speak to you. We have 3 families that are grief-laden. We have 3 mothers who have lost their wards. We're talking of a state that has not shown responsibility towards the education of these students. The investment, emotional investment, economic investment that these parents have invested in their wards have just disappeared. And more importantly, too, their lives have been snuffed out. These are lives that we cannot replace.
Okay.
And to make it more interesting and intriguing, nobody is taking responsibility for the killings.
Okay. Hold on, Abdul. Okay, let me get other callers involved in this. Abdullahi, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is your comment? I want to know. Basically. I want to know what you think should be done that is practical. I mean, that could change the situation on the ground about this situation.
Okay. What I think is, you see, the problem of Nigeria is just the inability of the leaders to rise to their responsibilities, according to Chinua Achebe, when he said that there is nothing wrong with the Nigerian land or soil, but the problem of Nigeria is simply and squarely the inability of the leaders to rise to their responsibilities. So I think what Nigeria needs now is someone who can take the country to the greater height, because Nigeria now is going into doom. You know, Nigeria, the economy is getting into the worst ever. Everything in Nigeria, in fact, I'm sorry to say, is just is going doomed. So I think Nigeria now needs someone who the people will really give their own trust to him, who will really take the country to the greater level, the masses need. So, and I think the coming up of these parties to merge up together, it's going to improve our democracy, because whenever we stick to a one-party system as we have today in Nigeria, only the PDP does the things they like, I think there is no future for Nigeria. But when we have, like the United States of America, you see, based on the fact that they have two-party system, it's now that, okay, I don't want to compare.
Okay,
Nigeria.
go ahead. Just hold on, okay, Abdullahi. Let me talk to. I had that Tina joined us. Tina, are you in Lagos?
Yes, I'm in Lagos.
Okay, all right. So, what do you think about this situation? What should be done?
As regard the killing of the Nassarawa State students.
Yes.
Yes. So far, the Nigerian army said they didn't send the soldiers that went there, that they were not the one that sent them. But the students said the soldiers came when they were having a peaceful protest, and 4 students died in the process. And if the Nigerian army could deny such a thing, of which they said the students shot at them, that was what they said, that the students were the one that shot at them. And I don't think students should.
Okay, I think Tina's line is not very good. Let me come to you, Toyin. Yeah. Toyin, now you're looking at this and being a victim, somebody that survived this. What do you think that families of victims should be doing now? Or from your experience, what do you think should be done by students and families of these victims to make sure that this could be it shouldn't happen again? Toyin, are you with us? Okay, I think we lost Toyin. All right, let me come to Abdul. Abdul, you talked about you were a former student president of the Nigerian Student Association. I wanted to know, just the former students, former leaders of student union in Nigeria, do they still continue to have any kind of discussion or communication after their term? And how can you say that former student leaders have they done in public, when they are no longer students? Have they continued with activism, or did most of them basically join the system? Abdul, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm talking to Abdul Mahmud in Abuja.
Okay.
Mahmud, are you still with us?
Mohammed.
Okay. I understand that we lost him and we're trying to get him back. All right, so I have Mohammed in Lagos. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, go ahead. So now tell me, practically, what do you think is possible for Nigerian students or victims of this horrific incident? What do you think they should do to probably get people to be held accountable?
I think the Nigerian government has a lot of work to do. First, I'm sorry, I'm going to go a little bit general. Now, our judiciary system is messed up already, because even when you start a case with these people, They have some godfathers in the Nigerian army that will kill the case down. You know the way Nigeria is. But I think it's high time we have new leaders. It's high time we have leaders that are ready to deliver justice to the people. It's high time the Nigerian youths, Nigerians generally, let them come out and protest to all these extrajudicial killings in the country. It's becoming too much. My brother, I can tell you that from last year to this year, at least from the Amnesty International report, over 1,000 people have died in this country. For how long do we continue this? For how long are we... Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Mohammed.
Yes. For how long are we going to continue this injustice? The president is sitting in the villa. He doesn't care. The Minister of Justice is not concerned. Today you hear 50 billion missing, tomorrow 50 billion. Next tomorrow they start setting up committees. You understand? For how long do we continue this? It's high time the Nigerian youth come out, protest. We must not do any violent protest.